What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I am your hostess doing the mostest, Kivanshi, and I'm trying something new, guys. I was like, so when I first started my podcast and was effectively convinced to also put it on YouTube for my visual people, I wasn't prepared to do that. And so I just found a place, in my apartment or whatever. And, it's cool, like the bookshelf, the books, if you've actually looked in the background of the other videos and stuff like that. And I love plants and everything like that. But I was just like, this whole time after 21, I think this is 22 episodes. Oh my God, that's insane. But like the whole course of like all 20 something episodes, I was just like, if I move or if like the lighting changes outside, I actually prefer filming at night because the sunlight, doing something like this in this capacity versus like a vlog is just much different when you do it at night than the daylight, like actually getting sunlight hours. So where was I going with that? Yeah, so I was just like, I need to get something and like come up with something that's consistent, that no matter where I move, no matter where I go, like what if I want to film like in a different part of my apartment or stuff like that, then things would be the same. So here we are. I hope y'all like it. This was really tough because it was literally like a split between 3 different backgrounds and everybody was like liking different ones. So for those of you who are listening, for the YouTube video portion of it all, I decided to do like a green screen to just put myself in another space where it also embodied like what I'm talking about. So like some little posters and stuff in the background, TV, etc., etc. But yeah, let's see, let's check in. This week I have had the week of like a dream, like since Monday even through today. It's just been like so many seeds that I've sown are finally sprouting. So it's so funny because I love plants. When you plant a seed or when you're like trying to like propagate a plant and stuff like that, you're not going to get new petals or new flowering, whatever it is that you're planting. You're not going to get new foliage before the root system is actually extensive enough. So you plant a seed, the roots come out first. They need to grow, they need to get their water, they need to get their nutrients, they need to get everything that they have. And so you want a very extensive and robust root system. Once it's like, boom, I'm solid, we're in there, the groundwork is laid, that is when you get to see a flower. That is when you get to see a foliage and leaves actually come out and bud from a plant. So I've been developing an extensive and robust root system for a really long time. And this week it was like, here's a leaf unfurling, here's another leaf unfurling, this one popped up, here's a leaf that's getting ready to like knot out of the plant, and I'm just like, what is happening? All that to say, grind, put in that work, pay attention, and water and nurture your root system. I promise you, after time, those leaves are going to unfurl, and you need to be ready for the maintenance that happens once those leaves come out. So you have like your maintenance, you're laying that groundwork, but then when the leaves come out, you got to make sure that the leaves continue to grow and they get bigger, and each new leaf is bigger than the last. And so really lay that groundwork with your root system, because once it starts popping, now you got to take care of that whole plant, leaves all the way down to the roots. And yeah, I'm just having a very planty week in my personal life, and I couldn't be happier. All that being said, you know who's not having a good time? Talcott. I'm trying to figure out, like, we had these flashback scenes from like episodes 1 through 7 where, you know, Judge Garland is like sitting with him. He's teaching him chess. Like, hey, you need to be thinking like 10 steps ahead. What am I talking about? 10 steps ahead, all this other stuff. And every time he does something, it's like he's playing like Connect 4. He's just out here just aimless. It's not even checkers at this point. I'm so disappointed in him. And I'm just like, let me read the book. There's no way he's this he lacks street smarts. I will just say that. So like the overarching theme of Emperor of Ocean Park, episode 9, titled chapter 9, I just walked away feeling like, why is he so dumb? I can't think of anything else. He just goes in headfirst without a plan. Never thinks of the consequences, never scales anything out. And at this point, I'm so tired of the flashbacks of his dad teaching him how to play chess, because obviously he does not win. Like, there's no way that he's a good chess player because he is not applying any of those skills to life. So let's just get into the episode so that y'all can, like, I don't know, y'all probably won't agree with me, but this episode really was like the pinnacle of like, okay, I know he's the protagonist, but I have beef. I have some concerns. But before we do that, I just want to say, while Judge Garland decided to give up alcohol, I did not. Say hello to Sir Davis. Hi. I got a nice, like, cute, you know, very demure, very mindful pour. This is not sponsored at all, like, whatsoever. But, she's delicious. And with the way Talcott had me, honestly, I'm gonna need this for this recap and review because, my God. So the episode is 52 minutes. Again, as always, just create some time if y'all want to watch this. The genre is crime, drama, mystery. The director for this episode is Damian Marcano, and the teleplay for this episode was by Francesca Butler. And as always, the Sherman Payne is the one who, he's like the lead writer and helps to develop the teleplay for the screen. So he's gonna be credited in every episode, but like you would see like written by, because it's like a book adaptation, you're gonna see teleplay by, where they're like scaling all of it down, but it's basically the same thing. This is based upon the book of the same name by Stephen L. Carter. And our main players for this episode: Forrest Whitaker, who plays Judge Oliver Garland; Grantham Coleman, who plays Talcott; Tiffany Mack, who plays Mariah; Paulina Lule, who plays Kimmer, which is Talcott's wife; Torrey Hanson, who plays Jack Ziegler, so he pops up again; and Jasmine Batchelor, who plays Maxine. So where did we leave off? So we know now that it was Claire's idea to move forward with seeking vengeance on Jovan and Bethany. And what a beautiful episode. I'm still reeling behind episode 8. Like, even watching episode 9, in the back of my mind, I was just like, they don't know that it was their mother's fault. Like, they don't know. I'm super excited for the point in which they find out that it wasn't their dad. I guess it's easier to think that it's Judge because he was just very like, he was very specific in his upbringing of them. I don't get anything where he maybe had like, he was giving them like physical punishment or anything like that. It just seems like he was very mentally, emotionally, and intellectually demanding. Which they may have resented in some way, shape, or form. Mariah is pretty, like, really a daddy's girl. But as we saw in episode 8, he was very soft with his daughters, had a huge soft spot. So it doesn't surprise me that Mariah doesn't feel about him the way that Talcott and their other brother, oh my God, what is his name? Addison. He hasn't been in a few episodes, but Addison feel about him. So it seems while Mariah is like, no, like that can't, like, no, my dad wouldn't do this. It's easier for Talcott and Addison to be like, he would. So I'm very curious on like what that's gonna look like when they find it out about that it was their mom. We also left off that Talcott's wife Kimmer left because he thought she was cheating on him with her boss. He went to the school, assaulted him, he got suspended from work, all types of things. So she moved out. Again, it's still like down for Kimmer for me because you've been cheating on this man for years. Like in the flashbacks and in the present day, he's been dealing with you stepping outside of your marriage. But because he decided to, I mean, yeah, it was a crime. But because he decided to finally react and explode, you took that as an opportunity to move out and take his son. Like, okay, girl, take the easy way out instead of owning up to your own transgressions. But anyway, then we found out, what else did I find out? This one was, oh, this is what I found out that was confusing. I'm sorry, I'm like thinking and reading my notes at the same time, trying to figure out what I was like note taking in shorthand. So the guy who was like pretending to be like a fake CIA agent in one of the earlier episodes, I didn't really connect that he was Uncle Jack's guy who killed Jovan and Bethany. And so when they were doing like the previously on blah blah blah, that's when I saw like, oh, like this is the same dude, especially because they aged him down for the flashbacks and like his whole style and everything was a little bit different. So I didn't put two and two together, but they are the same person. So he's been working with Uncle Jack for a really long time. Now that I've kind of like sporadically and ADD-ishly set the scene, we're gonna dive into episode 9. So we open up with Maxine telling Tal like, so I'm gonna go back to watching you from a distance, but this hooking up thing that we just did on your couch, like, no, it's never gonna happen again. And Tal is there, you know, like a puppy dog who's been abandoned because his wife ain't been giving him no attention nor like the time of day. And he's just like, oh, baby, come on. And she's like, this was cute, but no. And before she walks off, she hands him a flash drive and she was like, look, your family done been through enough. This whole revelation is crazy. So I will gift you all the information in the files that I have on your entire family. Like, we still need to figure out like what these arrangements are, but this is like my token of like trust, that you can trust that I'm looking out for your best interest, even though there are people having me watch you to get these other things. And so they had like their little moment, and he goes in the house and he's like clicking through everything and he's looking up old videos of like his mom and old videos of his dad, and he lands on one of the last videos that the dad had of Abby. During that time, while he's watching the video, he gets a text and it's a picture of his son from an unknown number, and it says, you got 24 hours to get the arrangements. So he's like out the house, out the door, he's calling Kimmer. He's like, girl, you need to answer this phone, like y'all are in danger, blah blah blah. She's ignoring his phone calls, she's been ignoring his texts and everything like that, which like, girl, that is still his son. Like, he still has a child with you. And how is, anyway intrusive and personal thoughts. We're getting ready to leap through this review. So he gets there and he sees his son on the front lawn and he runs out and hugs him, and it appears that the son hasn't seen him in a little bit. So she come out on the front porch all high and mighty, but I can tell that he went to the west side of Chicago. Shout out. Love the west side, love the buildings, love everything, love going there. I'm gonna be there soon, actually. So anyways, Shout out to y'all. So she come out on the porch, cross her arms, talking about, I thought I said that we needed some space. And he was like, girl, boo. Somebody's messaging me, threatening us, and now y'all are in danger. And she's like, well, this just means that you should stay away from us even more. Like, you should stay away from us so that we don't get hurt by you. Ma'am, if I can take a picture of where you are right now, what does my staying away have to do with anything? They know who you are. They know where you are. They're not going to stop. Please just take a break. Talcott's words. Take a break from like what we got going on and understand the gravity of the situation. And she's just like, no, it seems like you're the only one who's in the situation. So go home, Tal. Go home. So we get to a flashback. So one of our first flashbacks of the scene, Judge is at, I'm assuming, like one of his favorite coffee shops, and Jack shows up and he's like, so I'm gonna need you to be smart about this. Like, remember that thing that we talked about? Yeah, I'm gonna need you to do what we said, and there won't be any issues. Like, this, it's all business. Like, it just is what it is. Let's do what we need to do. So the flashback kind of starts to thread, like, what does Uncle Jack want from MKD? And if he doesn't do what he says, then like, what is that going to look like for Judge and their family? Meanwhile, in present day, Mariah is still struggling with the grief of her, the loss of her father, and she's trying to get his body exhumed to see like if there was anything else going on. And the executor of his estate showed up to the gravesite while she was arguing with this other lady, and he was like, look, I can hook you up with a doctor. You probably should also see a therapist because like this is crazy. Like, I need you to accept that he had health issues. Like, there's nothing else going on. Like, you need to accept that. And Mariah is just really struggling, and she gets the doctor's name, but you can just kind of tell like she's probably not gonna let it go with trying to figure out like what happened to her dad. And the reason she's also not letting it go is because even when she was talking to her husband, she was like, I've been looking at his death through the lens of people who didn't like him, but knowing that my father had 2 teenagers killed, I need to start looking at it from like the inside out. What did he do and what type of life was he leading that would invite this type of death? So these are all the things that she has going on in her mind as she's trying to pressure all of these different people to get his body exhumed. In our flashback again, Judge is really trying to get himself recused. So he submitted a request for recusal, but it turns out that he did it too late. Apparently he had already heard like both sides of the arguments, and he was trying to like come up with some financial what do you call it conflict of interest. And so his colleague who basically like assigns like the cases on the docket was like, is there anything else you need to tell me, because this isn't enough for recusal? And Judge was just like, no, like that's it. And he was like, you know, I definitely appreciate your integrity in coming to tell me about this information, but none of the things that you said is grounds for recusal, especially since what you're saying is a conflict of interest wouldn't directly impact your morals or your integrity on the stand. Like, I know you, I trust you, like I know that you can compartmentalize and look at this from an objective point of view. So they're sitting there chopping it up, and the judge is like, oh, okay. But you can see it in his face that he is sick, and he's really trying to get out of this. So you really see in this episode, yes, he was fueled by vengeance and revenge and grief in the previous episode. It was very much like a one-off. Like, he has miraculously led a very clean career and is known as a clean judge, a fair judge, even when he plays devil advocate and see the other side. He's a well-informed decision maker, and there's a lot of respect in that. And so now what Jack is asking him to do is challenging his very essence and the very foundation of who he is and the foundation of what he even taught his children. So we're seeing a struggle similar to season 8, but in a different vein. We're season 8. I hope we get that far. In episode 8, his struggle was about fatherhood. And in episode 9, his struggle is about his profession. So it seems as if the judge is plotting and scheming again. He's in the grocery store, and the last time we saw him in the grocery store, we saw that it was a planned event. And of course, this time it's a planned event. He pulls up on the defense, on the opposing counsel to MKD. I don't know this lady's name, y'all, but MKD Global is like, what do you call them? I don't know law stuff. I'm trying to think of like what I be seeing on the bottom of like when I be watching Judge Judy, and it'd be like the defendant and like the other person. I cannot remember what that other person is. Anyways, she's the defense defending against MKD Global, and basically trying to get the ruling that was in the lower courts upheld. And she was presenting like a good case. So he rolls up on her. He's like, oh, hey, like trying to make small talk, but like not really doing a good job at integrating his intentions. And in that, he's like talking about the case, and you can see she's getting outwardly uncomfortable to the point where she tells him like, I'm not comfortable discussing the matters of this case with you outside of a courtroom, outside of it being documented by the stenographer or the court recorder or whatever they call him these days. And so she's getting ready to walk off, and he just takes a leap of faith and he grabs her and he's like, you need to file a petition to get this moved and presented in front of somewhere else. I see what you're doing. I agree with the things that you're saying. You don't need to present this to me. I need you to present this and request that it be presented to somebody else. And she is just like kind of fearful, and she's like you're hurting me, like let go. And he realizes the desperation that it's causing and the situation that he's putting them in. Like, y'all both could be under investigation for compromising the case like that, like compromising the integrity and the information of the case. So he backs off, but we finally see fear show up in Judge Oliver Garland. And up until this point, he's been fearless. But now he is afraid, and his actions are showing that, because when you act out of fear, you make mistakes, and people who are watching you see those mistakes. So we're in the present. Mariah had already gone to the doctor, and he just told her like, look, your dad was told a few years back that he needed surgery. He had a block, but he didn't want to go through surgery. You know, black men and the doctors, like, there's just really not a good relationship. Honestly, I can't even say like black men. I don't know what it is about black people getting older and not going to the hospital. Like, I definitely know, like, being younger, and I know like mortality rates and us not being treated the same as like white counterparts. But it's something about when you're young and you're like, yeah, let me go to the doctor, let me go to this. You go to the doctor for any and everything. But then when you get older, you don't want to go. My theory is that because they're getting older, going to the doctor and being faced with the fact that they're not going to live forever anyway, and having that fear of their own mortality keeps them from going. So he was told that he had some blockages in his heart years prior, and he didn't want to do surgery, and he was just like, I'm gonna just ride this out. Nobody else in the family knew about that, and because he didn't get the surgery anyway, why would they know? And so it makes sense that he kept it from them. So she's in the bathroom, and she's finally like trying to pack up his stuff. She got some of her feelings out with talking to her nanny / housekeeper. So it seems as if she's in a place of not acceptance just yet, but a place where she's recognizing that she's being a little irrational behind his death. So she's just a little bit calmer, and a lot less reckless. So she's packing up his stuff, but she's going through his meds because she's like, okay, if you're saying that he had these heart things, then you would have provided him medication. So she's reading the bottles when Tal calls her and he's like, I think I have an idea on how to get the arrangements. And she was like, you just said that you didn't even know how to begin. And he was like, it's cool. Like, I think I can come up with something. So she's like, all right, bet. I'm just packing up daddy's things, but you know, I'll meet you and we'll go over everything. Back at the judge's house, he walks home, and I cannot talk. I think it's the Sir Davis. It's okay. I like this effect. I don't know why I can't talk. I literally just got up from like a 2-hour nap. So he walks into his house, and Uncle Jack is sitting there talking with Claire, and it's like tense pleasantries. Like the mood it's thick up in that room. And so she excuses herself and he talks, and he was like, Judge, bro, you don't think that we know that you're trying to get yourself off this case? Like, people are watching. People higher up than me are watching. And the judge told him, I'm not trying to do this. You know, you're over here trying to be like, oh, remember that thing that I did for you, but trying to blackmail me into doing something illegal and sacrificing my career, my morals, my integrity for you. And Uncle Jack tell him, look, we are besties, bro. Like, I'm not even trying to put you in this situation. It's literally just business. You don't know the people who are behind this and doing this. All I'm asking you is to rule in their favor. That's it. It doesn't negate our friendship. It doesn't even negate what I did for Abby. Like, I loved Abby. And I also offered you an out. You chose to continue down that path. So in the best interest of all of us, and for the safety and preservation for every single one of us involved, I need you to do this favor. That is it. And he got up and he left. Now, this is one of those ethical and moral dilemmas, because I agree with Uncle Jack. Like, I agree. Okay. He offered you an out. You and Claire, y'all did not take it. And I think that it was a genuine out. So last episode, I was like, I don't know that the out was genuine, but based on this episode and based on this particular scene, I believe that Uncle Jack genuinely wanted him to take that information and go to the police and get everybody involved with the cover-up of his daughter's death arrested. And because he didn't take it, whoever Jack is working with or working for or whatever is using the knowledge that Judge Garland is willing to cross that line against Jack and the judge. Because now that whoever that entity is knows that you're willing to cross those lines, they're going to purposely put cases in front of you because they know that there's a crack in your foundation, in your moral code. Even if you're trying to hold on to it, they now have this thing over you. So it's like Jack is being used as the villain here, but I definitely think that there's a bigger villain at play, and both Jack and Judge are being used. So Mariah and Talcott meet in downtown Chicago, and he was like, I wanted to meet down here because it's noisy. I think they're like watching my phone, bugging it. We just need to be in a place where there's a lot of people, where it's loud, and then we can talk without like our lips being read, blah, blah, blah. So she was like, okay, then what's up? Like, what you plan on doing? And he was like, I don't know. And Mariah's like, what? What is this ingenious plan that you were talking about? He literally has no plan, but he's just like, oh, let's just lie and say that we got the arrangements and see what happens. And she's like, bro, they're literally, didn't they just threaten your child, my nephew? What the fuck are you talking about? She's like, you know what? Obviously, something is wrong in your brain. Something is wrong. So you know what? Like I always do, let big sis handle it, because you're not thinking at all. So he was like, what are you gonna do? She's like, don't even worry about it. Let me get this plan. I'll tell you the plan. But you know, be safe out there. And also, like, let's start to think. Let's really start to think about things, because how you're acting is insane. Like, you literally cannot jump in here blind. And yet that is his thought process, because he's so frantic. And not once in all 8 episodes has he sat and took a bird's eye view of all the information that he has of the situation, took a bird's eye view to his own memories of the lessons that his father was trying to teach him. He is in the trenches. And what's really blinding him, what's really blinding him, is the downfall of his own marriage. He is so blind by Kimmer and her deception and her cheating, that always behind his eyes, it's like a movie reel playing over and over and over. It's like he's existing in time and space, but behind his eyes is, who is she cheating on me with? I need to find out who that person is. Well, but I kind of want to get her back, and I want my family back, and I want my son, but who is she cheating on me with? Okay, it wasn't the professor. I beat up the wrong person, but who is it? And so it's really causing him to make the dumbest decisions I think I've ever seen a black character make in my life. I'm like, this is not, I don't want to be that one that be like, oh, like, black people need to get these type of roles. But I swear to God, I'm just like, it's giving, like, just no street smart. This man knows how to be a professor, and that's it. And that's it. He's very naive. That's where he's very naive. He doesn't have life experience, and he doesn't have world experience. And at this point, he does not have experience with women. Like, I understand wanting to, like, find out the truth and stuff behind your wife, but there is a bigger threat and there's a bigger danger, and you're focused on the smallest thing, which is your wife cheating. She been cheating. There's nothing new. You didn't leave then, and you're not trying to leave now. So why is this consuming you in a way that is causing you to make grave mistakes? Talcott, I need you to sneak in some therapy in between, like, all of this. So we're back in 2004, and the judge, you know, he thought about it, he slept on it, and he was like, so I'm going to rule in favor of the defense, and he rules against MKD Global. And we find out he's at the diner, he's drinking his coffee, he's doing his thing, and Uncle Jack walks up with a newspaper, and he was like, bro, I ain't even trying to hear all that. And he was like, hey, just turn to page 7. I don't know if it was page 7, but he was like, turn to this page and just read it. He opens it up. The defense lawyer on that case was murdered in her home during a home invasion. And Jack was like, bruh, I literally tried to tell you. All you had to do was just say, oh, motion denied or whatever. And that was it. But now someone's life is not only on your hands, but on my hands too. Because these people that's I'm working for, or that's blackmailing me or whatever, I don't know at this point, they got pulled. And now you can see that Jack is like saddened by this death, and Judge is kind of rocked at the gravity of the situation, because I want to say he probably was operating from a point where he thought Jack was like the end all be all, or that Jack was maybe like pretending or bending the truth on the influence of whoever is influencing him. But now he sees like, no, this is legit. So Jack tells him there's another case getting ready to go in front of him, and this is a case for the national water rights. And he was like, bro, rule in this favor and let's try to keep the bloodshed like to a minimum. Like, I'm sorry that we're both here, but it's going to be some more cases coming up in the future. I hope they don't end like this. So Judge has that conversation with him. He goes back to work and he asked his assistant, he was like, I need you to show me how to like get these files, and I need you to show me how to scan some things. So now Judge is like plotting. What is he plotting on? You'll find out later in this review. In the present day, we are finally getting to like this plan that Mariah has cooked up, and it involves her, Tal, and his friend Dana from a few episodes back. So Dana is the one, when I did the review on episode 1, who was like helping. He basically employed his work friend to figure out if his wife was cheating. And when she saw him come out of her boss's house, it was her who gave him the information that he was cheating on, that Kimber was cheating on him with her boss. But it turns to find out her boss is gay, and that's not the nature of the relationship. So Dana, he be getting Dana into their shenanigans. And based on their relationship, it feels like Dana also like is cool with Mariah. So basically Mariah's plan is she's physically going to these locations, making sure that she's on camera, doing all these things. She's opening up a safety deposit box. She's getting a key. She's creating like these files, like these digital files and stuff, but like encrypting them so that whoever gets a hold of the information, it would take them a long time to uncover it and try to figure out like what it is. And so the plan is to keep whomever is stalking him and threatening his family busy enough to where they can get more than 24 hours to get the arrangement. So whoever's stalking him gave him 24 hours. He don't know what to do. He don't know nothing. He don't know where to start. He don't know where to do a damn thing. And so Mariah is helping him by at least trying to give them maybe a week to like move forward and figure out like what this is, because time is ticking and their life is on the line. So they need Dana in this to just kind of help plant some seeds, do some things, to that nature, because nobody's really watching Dana. So that when Tal goes and completes this plan, the people who are watching him will think that he found the arrangement. So it's a really good plan. Mariah is a genius. Tal, I need you to start thinking like your sister. As Tal and Kimmer, Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening. As Tal and Mariah are leaving the office and Dana and them, they're going their separate ways, she sees this guy in the hallway. So she ran into this guy earlier and saw that he had like an Audi or whatever, and there was a dent on there. And she called Tal and was like, hey, I'm on my way to see you, but like, didn't you say like there was an Audi that was following you? Like I just met this guy and I think this is the car. So they're talking in the hallway and she sees him and she was like, yo, that's him. So Tal is like turning around, he's looking around like, who? And she's like, that guy right there, like that's sitting there. And he was like, that's my student. And he was like, are you sure? And she took a picture. She had a picture on her phone and she showed him the dent with the license plate. So he pulled up the picture in his phone from when he chased it a few episodes back, and it was the same license plate and everything. So he was like, all right, bet, I'll be back. And I'm just sitting here like, Tal, didn't you just barely get your job back after fighting a coworker? Why are you about to confront a student? I don't even care how old he is. Why are you about to confront a student at all? Like at all, right? Control your temper. Think. He lacks emotional intelligence. He lacks self-control. Like I don't like his character. I'm gonna just put it out there. I don't like his character. Y'all gonna have to do something in episode 10 in season 2. Like y'all gonna have to do something. I don't like him. He's too old to be thinking this irrationally with so many things at stake. I don't get it. So he goes outside and so Tal is like pushing on him like, I know it's you. And so he's like, what are you talking about? Oh, this character is played by Keith Powers, by the way. Don't know his name. in the story. So he's like, I know it's you. You've been following me. What's up with these arrangements? Da, 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 da. And the boy like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't even know what you on. Like, bro, chill. Like, you're just my teacher. And he's getting ready to walk away. And he's like, I know it's you that was following me and was outside of my house that day and blah, blah, blah. What's up? And so he was like, I don't know nothing about them arrangements. Like, you over here with this picture in this house. That house is my house. That house is the house that your wife was coming out of. And so Tal is like, he was like, you know, I admitted I lost it a little bit when I seen you with my woman. And so Talcott's like, Excuse me? Pardonnez-moi? Like, he's like, what the hell are you even talking about? So he's like, oh, so you the one she was sleeping with. Didn't she tell you to leave her alone? And blah, blah, blah. And he was like, she didn't really want me to leave her alone. She just didn't want the scandal of sleeping with a student or anything like that. But trust and believe, she wants to hop on it. Then he says, yo, some of these people are audacious up in these script, like the script writers, y'all are writing some audacious things. I wrote this down. Let me see. He says to Talcott, you couldn't handle her. You couldn't keep her, and you damn sure couldn't satisfy her. Now, in Tal's defense, I probably would have punched him too. But as a rational thinking adult viewer watching this, come on. So Tal is like punching him, fighting him, and all types of other stuff. And to the students' credit, which further makes Tal look crazy. Like nobody is giving him the same energy back. And so it makes it look one-sided. And so if anybody wanted to build a case against him for anger management, for assault, he could go to jail because nobody's giving him that same energy. So this student who probably could beat him up went towards him, but his fists were balled up at his side and he was just like, you done? And he picked up his backpack and he left. Tal, you're opening yourself up for lawsuits, my guy. Like lawsuits. For losing tenure, for losing retirement. You over here talking about your wife and your child. You're not going to have no benefits for either one of them. Like, control it. Control it. Please. I beg. So we're flashing back, and that water situation, the National Waters Association or whatever, judge ended up ruling in favor of them. He invites Jack over to the house, and he's like, Jack was like, I didn't think you would ever invite me back over here. Like, and Judge was like, look, we got way too many years of friendship for it to come down to this. So like, I'm gonna need you to like fill me in on like what actually is going on. If you're not the big guy calling the shots, what the hell is going on? So Jack is just like having this conversation, and he's like, you know, unfortunately, like there will be more. But I'm glad you did it with the program, and you making the decisions in favor of these people will help keep a lot of people alive. And you know, you don't need to know why they want you to make these decisions, just know that you need to make these decisions. And so he goes to give Judge money for this case, and Judge was like, I don't really need your money, like ain't nothing to do with that. And so Jack was just like, all right, well, how does like an Abby Garland Foundation sound? And so it appears as though anytime he makes a decision on a case, whatever money that corporation is paying Judge to make these decisions, Jack is just going to put the money into a scholarship foundation for USC, which is the school that Abby wanted to go to. So Jack leaves, and Claire walks into there, and she was like, I don't want this motherfucker in my house no more. So like, what game we playing? What's up? What's up? And you know they're besties, so you know he's not gonna keep no secrets from his wife at all. So he's like, it's cool, I got it under control. I'm making some arrangements to secure our safety. The arrangements, guys. He had him a recorder. He recorded that whole conversation. Them documents that he asked his assistant to help him scan. He got them all digitized, and he got them on his computer. And baby, he got a folder titled The Arrangements. My man said, absolutely not. I don't care by any means necessary. You're not about to tarnish my name. You're not about to tarnish my family. And I know we go way, way back. We ace boon coons, but baby, it's the Garlands over everything. It's the Garlands over everybody. You ain't a Garland. It's up. It's done. It's over for you. And Claire is standing there, please, like the baddie wife that she is. Present day, Tal is at the grave site, praying, like going back to the parents, but then he's walking along some graves and he stops down and he sees these flowers, and so he's digging up the flowers. So now the part of the plan that he drummed up with, well, that Mariah made with him and Dana is coming to fruition. And Mariah pulls up a little bit after him, so he was already there going alone, but she's at the street, like just kind of like watching from a distance or whatever. So then we hear this gun click and turns around. It's the CIA guy who was supposed to have been dead from the explosive car. And so Tal was like, it's you, like threatening me? And he was like, I thought you was dead. And he was like, did you see a body? Like, I needed you to think that I was dead so that I could follow you and watch you make these mistakes. So whatever it is in your hand it over. So he hands him the box and the guy opens it up and it's a safety deposit box key. And so Tal is like, what the hell is going on? Like, all of this stuff with the arrangements. Are you working with Uncle Jack? Like, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I'm not working with him. He said, you giving me the arrangements is going to free me from him as well. This ain't got nothing to do with you. It really ain't that personal, but I need these more than him because I am tired of doing his dirty work. And so Tal is sitting there and he was like, you know, thanks for the key. And he's getting ready to shoot Tal right in the face. Now, he faked his own death to make Tal think that he was dead so that he can make, so that Tal can make stupid mistakes like he did. But it seems the CIA agent wasn't aware that Maxine was hired to tail him as well. So as he's getting ready to shoot Tal, Maxine shoots him. So there's this whole like shootout in the graveyard, and Mariah hears this. She's getting out of the car trying to like run to her brother and figure out like what's going on. And so the agent, he's like an ex-CIA agent, turns around and they're shooting, and Maxine actually like gets off a kill shot. But as he's dying, he's squeezing the trigger. And Tal is hiding behind like this grave thing, but it ricocheted and hit Tal in the stomach. So Maxine runs off because she's supposed to be like this invisible thing. And like at this point, like shots fired, she cannot be there. Mariah comes up and she sees that he's injured, and a beautiful display of cinematography here because it's getting like a little bit black around the edges of the screen, and then it's coming back and then it's a little bit black. And so this is from Talcott's point of view of his consciousness is getting ready to fade. And with that, the audio is like fading in and out of hearing Mariah clearly, and then it's sounding like he's going underwater. I love this scene so much. And Mariah is like, please, no. She's trying to call 911, but it seems that she doesn't have any service because she puts the phone to her ear and she puts it down and she's trying to put pressure on her wound. And she's just like, no, like, please don't die. And Talcott collapses on her and she screams. So there's that. Chapter 9, Emperor of Ocean Park. Whoo! What a ride. I don't know what was happening with my brain and my mouth and why they weren't connecting, and some spots were like, ugh. But we're here. We made it, guys. To the Garlands. Cheers. I haven't tried this with ice yet, but maybe I should. I'm trying to be on my like big girl. What an episode. What an episode. Episode 8 is still my favorite. I think just from the flabbergastedness of it all. I know these are not real words. But episode 9, wow, Talcott. Wow. What a ride. What a ride. And now Mariah has lost her father and she might lose you. I can't believe there's only one episode left. I can't believe it. My thoughts on this whole episode, I kind of gave them at the beginning. Like, Talcott is just not thinking, but overall, what in the hell is going on. I don't even know what's going on. Like, you go from thinking like Judge was like this villain to Jack being like a savior to Judge actually being like the hero and a victim to Jack being an antagonist but also like in a bind to the kids not knowing, like just unable to piece together everything that's going on. And they are really shooting in the dark. I think Judge, died. I think he was killed too. I don't believe this whole heart attack thing. I don't, because I just don't think that the judge would have not left nuggets for them to find to protect themselves. They are wildly unprotected right now. And I think that if he were alive a little bit longer, he would have made breadcrumbs for at least Mariah, of all people, to find the arrangements. So nobody knows what the arrangements are. Nobody really knows what anything is. And the only thing that Addison has is the file that proved that Judge, and he didn't, it seems like he didn't implicate his wife in this at all, because Addison said that the judge was the only one responsible for having Jovan and Bethany killed. So the only thing that he left behind was this file that said that he participated in this. The kids don't know anything about the digital file or the arrangements at all. They don't even know where to begin. They don't know their father. They don't know where to look, which makes me think that he was killed before he was ever able to lay down the breadcrumbs for them. Because of that, I fear for Mariah and Talcott's life. Addison is really not getting threatened because he's like, my name Bennett, I ain't in it. Like, I'm just trying to be safe. And I don't think he lives in Chicago anymore either. I think he came back for the funeral, but that was it. So they're working backwards right now. And I hope in the next episode that Mariah also really levels with the gravity of the situation, because she's kind of going blind too. She just is so happened to be smarter, strategically smarter than Talcott. Because she's not protecting her family. She's not protecting her kids. She's not protecting herself. Like, she's just out here living life, doing her own thing. And it's never crossing her mind that she could be getting followed too, or that she could be in danger too. So I don't know. Because Talcott may or may not be alive. So will she even have the strength to really dig into what's going on? Or will she be so consumed by grief that she will now become the target of the arrangements? I don't know. We'll find out next week at the finale. And that's gonna end today's episode. Thank you for rocking with me. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Spotify. Follow me on Apple Podcasts. Leave comments, leave reviews. You can also follow me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast. What else? I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. So I'm going to get off of here. I'm about to enjoy my Sir Davis. I cannot believe that there's only one episode left. I will be reading this book over winter break. School starts next week for the fall semester. So winter break, we get like 2 weeks off. I'm gonna finish this book because I need to know the things. I need to know what's happening in season 2. Okay.